When I never felt that, come on, yeah. Never felt that, come on, yeah. When I never felt that, come on, yeah. You gotta get up.
George Washington is called the father of the nation.
John Adams passed treachery legislation.
The famous Thomas Jefferson bought Louisiana.
Under James Madison, War of 1812 began.
And the Monroe Doctrine was by James Monroe.
John Quincy Adams built canals that flow.
Know that Andrew Jackson led the common man's cause.
Martin Van Buren shunned war at all costs.
Lost William Harrison, he died in bed.
So then
By split government, we mean one political party controls Congress and a different one controls the presidency.
Throughout America's history, who's made it into...
After 9/11, the country came together and he was able to accomplish things that he would not have been able to do without the tragedy. Johnson could back people into a corner and get folks to do things that they would never actually do on their own.
Ulysses Grant granted votes to every last good man.
Disbanded post-war Reconstruction, Rutherford Hayes.
James Garfield assassinated after 90 days.
So what would make the president let a bill turn into law by sitting on his desk for 10 days? Why wouldn't he just go ahead and sign it? We'll talk about that tomorrow.
Did you think that it was over?
Chester Arthur, Postal Service bribery he smoldered.
Let's take a look and see exactly what the Federal Reserve System is, in brief.
Are you fed up not understanding the Fed? What exactly is it? And what do they do?
The Federal Reserve must be alert to
parenthetically that the downward revision of the fourth quarter GDP number.
Quantitative easing, we've been buying longer-term Treasury securities.
Okay, let's try that again, this time in English. The Fed, short for the Federal Reserve, is the gatekeeper of the U.S. economy. It was established back in 1913 by President Woodrow Wilson. That's because 6 years earlier, a bunch of banks went bankrupt and caused widespread panic. It was kind of like this.
Hey, lady, you got any money in the bank? You better hurry.
So Congress figured somebody better be in charge. The Fed became the nation's central bank, overseeing the entire banking system for the country, figuring out how much to loan those banks at what interest rate, and making sure they're a safe place for people to keep their money. But the Fed has an even bigger role to ensure the U.S. economy stays strong by closely monitoring it. They do that by dividing the nation up into 12 regional economies. They keep tabs on what's happening in those economies, and they get together 8 times a year to report back. Who are they? The FOMC, or the Federal Open Market Committee. That's a group of 12 people led by the first woman chair of the Federal Reserve, Janet Yellen. And like E.F. Hutton, when the Fed talks, people listen.
And E.F. Hutton says,
economists, as well as the stock market, follow every report carefully, wondering if interest rates are going to go up. Because when they do, it has a ripple effect on the whole economy. It's more expensive to take out a loan, and people are left with less money to spend. Interest rates go up as a way to pump the brakes on a good economy to ensure it doesn't get too hot, meaning too much inflation. When the economy needs a kickstart, the Fed lowers interest rates, which boosts borrowing and spending. So the question everyone is asking right now is, will she or won't she? The dollar is strong, inflation is low, and unemployment is down. So does that mean the economy is strong enough to handle higher interest rates? Janet Yellen has been dropping hints she might do that for the first time in 6 years.
An increase in the target range could be warranted at subsequent meetings.
But she doesn't have to ask anyone for permission. The Fed is independent. Some argue that the Federal Reserve needs more oversight.
Fed operates largely in secret. They also have too much power.
Others say Janet Yellen and the Fed already have to explain their decisions whenever Congress asks them to testify. Whatever happens this year, it will be a heavily calculated decision. So whether you're preparing to make a big purchase or just trying to figure out where the economy is heading, at least when it comes to the Federal Reserve, you can say, "Oh, I get it."
presidency.
James Polk was an underdog, first dark horse.
Zachary Taylor elected cause he fought in wars.
California admitted by Millard Fillmore.
Franklin Pierce on a law book, his oath he swore.
Moreover, James Buchanan saw the state seceding.
Abraham Lincoln.
Discretionary spending, that's the money that they don't have to spend. So if we go backwards, you look at the spending, Social Security, Medicare, health, that sort of stuff, those are required by law that we spend that money. If you take a look at discretionary, we choose to spend 55.2% of that on our military.
Who's made it into the presidency? The song continues on. Did you think that it was over?
Chester Arthur.
Some presidents are better at that than others.
More bills than most.
Benjamin Harrison narrowly.
You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. We looked at that with the high school kids video earlier.
Was Teddy Roosevelt,
William Taft, income tax, what he most developed.
hoped to build the League of Nations? That was Woodrow Wilson.
Warren Harding had a cabinet that scandal spilled from.
Presidents.
You gotta